saved. All right, so hopefully you can, there we go. So today I'm going to give you a quiz. There's a quiz and it will start at 9 a.m. or sorry, at 10 a.m. it is. It's set up, so you do need lockdown browser. So I hope you've got that sorted out for yourselves. And you got kind of an hour and a half to do that. Now, we were supposed to finish up until chapter 4 today. And in fact, in the last lesson, we finished chapter 4. But the quiz today is on chapter 3. And so that's why I've put that there. So assignment 3 is actually a quiz. We just call it assignment 3, but that you'll need to follow this link later. It won't open until 10 a.m. So at 10 a.m., make sure you've got your lockdown browser. It's just a short quiz, 10 questions kind of thing. And it's on chapter 3. So just to remind you of that. And this is not, so it's not like I'm giving you this lesson now, but just to remind you of that, there was lesson 3. Do you remember? It was things about, well, finding the MAC address, TCP/IP settings on your computer, DNS servers. So what else? Domain names, data link layer, network IP addresses. So the MAC address, the components of the MAC address, remember that? And the components of your IP address. MAC address was made up of 2 major parts, the name of the maker of the equipment and then the local address. So that's what that's saying there. First 24 bits where the manufacturer ID, and then the last 24 bits were a unique identifier for the actual equipment. Remember, your MAC addresses are going to be assigned to every port on a piece of equipment in your network. So that refers to a gateway. A gateway is going to have a MAC address. Gateway is going to be a port on your router. You'll need to know these ideas. What is a subnet? What is a DNS server? So remember the subnet masks are going to have things like 255.255. Whatever if it's a CNET. Sorry, a C-class subnet. So that's going to show you the subnet mask helps you determine which part of the IP address is the network part and which part is the host ID. Yeah, remember the 2 different types of IP addresses for version 4 and version 6. Many network operating systems now will allow for both of those, though we still do a lot of work in the IP version 4. IP version 6 is going to be supposed to be easier to work with, right? Because you've got so many more addresses that are possible. And then IP4, that's your traditional sort of networking. When I say traditional, for like the last 30 years, we've been using this. And so we've done a lot with this. And you really do still need to know how to do it because we do have this thing of, as it's the difference between classful and classless IP addresses. And the difference there being that we can actually do a little bit of tweaking with the addresses to get more addresses out of a network. So we make these private networks that are 192, 168, etc. That's going to be a C-class network, and then we can make up a bunch of addresses that somebody else in the world probably has, but that's going to be behind a gateway. And so that the rest of the world's not going to see those IP addresses, so we can use them as we like. So yeah, and there's other private addresses can start with 10. So a big organization that's got thousands of people might have a private network starting with 10s. Your private network at your home that you're working off your router is going to be 192 probably, and this of course would be intermediate between them. Yeah. So I don't know if I should go through all of that because that would be like a lesson, but the purpose of me just showing you this now is to raise your awareness. This is what you need to look at in the quiz. So you know what you know about this and what you don't. So I recommend that you sort of have a quick look through it, see what bits that you need to sort of look at. Maybe get together and talk about that if you like. As I said, you will be on on a lockdown browser for the actual quiz itself. So there's a little bit about IP version 6 addresses. We've got sound at the door. So I'm just gonna wait for a second. Got to open this door. All right, so any questions on that? As I said, we've already been through all of this. It's not my plan to give a lesson here because, do remember the ports and the sockets as ways of, so remember that if you use an IP address that's layer 3, your ports are going to be layer 4. So a combination of an IP address and a port number is going to be a socket. We use that to address particular applications at a particular point in the network. And there's an example of it there. We've got the IP address separated by a colon from the port. So altogether, that's a socket. And that could be used to address a particular application on that device. And yeah, so there's some dynamic ports that you might write code for. There's some well-known ports as well. As I said, I'm not going to go through all of that because that would be like a lesson. But what I'm trying to do is just run it very, very quickly past your minds so that you can look at that and maybe something will jump to your mind. You'll say, oh, I need to look at that a bit more. So I'm ready for the quiz. You do have an hour and a half to do that. And that's what I want you to do today. Bearing in mind also that there is a somewhat larger test that's coming up the next time we meet. Okay, the next time we meet. So that's like Thursday, isn't it? I think. Yep, Thursday, it's my last period. We're going to have a larger test, and that's going to be on chapters 1 and 2. I'm pretty sure it's on chapters 1 and 2. If there's any change in that, I will put something on D2L. So for today, get a hold of that set of slides, have a look at it, make sure that you sort of understand it, and maybe there's some questions or whatever, but that's what you should be looking at. All right, and get ready for that quiz, which will open at 10 o'clock. So are there any questions now?
No, sir.
You can see your messages. All right. Sunshine, Sun, were you going to say something? No.
Oh, I just said no, sir.
All right, that's fine. Hopefully you guys feel confident in doing that. By all means, sort of get together. I'll be here. I'll probably, it's kind of dumb to keep the Zoom meeting open, but okay, tell you what, if you got a question, just put it on WhatsApp, because I think just about everybody's on the WhatsApp group. Or you could send me an email, but I will be here. I'll keep this open for a little while, the Zoom meeting, but I did want you to sort of use this time to get ready for that quiz so that you do well in the quiz. Okay. That good? Any other questions? Because I'll stop talking in a minute if not. Okay. Stop talking right now. I'm going to go and talk to Salad. Okay. So I've turned off my video, but I'm going to just go and have a chat with Saud. I'm going to keep the Zoom meeting open for a bit, but without the video because that's distracting for everybody. And if I'll just leave it like that, and if there's anything you want to sort of make a point of, put in the chat. Before you go, let me just mark who's here. Before you go, yeah. So that would be, I want the snip. Where's my snipping tool? I thought I started. There it is. Of course, it's behind. Anything that's behind a Zoom window is really behind it. You can't see it at all. There we go. Got it. Okay, thanks, students. Right, let's go and chat to. So I'm going to turn off my video and my mute, but the sorry, and I'm going to mute the and I'm going to stop recording if I'm recording. And so if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. I think yeah, I'm going to stop the share too. I think the meeting will keep going even though I stopped the recording.